The Haunting of 35 Stonegate, York. A true tale of ghostly encounters. Stonegate, one of the most historic and atmospheric streets in York, has long been a focal point for both tourists and locals. Known for its charming narrow alleys, cobbled streets, and medieval buildings, it is a place where the city's history is visible at every turn. Among the ancient structures that line this storied street is 35 Stonegate, a building that holds a dark and unsettling secret. The property has a history of unexplained phenomena, and the tales surrounding it have made it one of the most notorious haunted locations in York. The building at 35 Stonegate has stood for centuries, its exact age difficult to pin down due to numerous renovations and alterations over the years. It has been a house, a shop, and a place of business, but its role in the community has always been significant. Like many old buildings in York, 35 Stonegate has witnessed centuries of change, including the upheaval of the English Civil War, periods of plague, and the rise of York as a bustling market city. Despite its outward charm, there have been rumours of strange occurrences within the walls of 35 Stonegate for generations. It is said that the building was once a tavern, frequented by sailors and soldiers, and it is during this time that the first unsettling reports began. Whispers of ghostly activity began circulating as early as the 18th century, though they remained largely ignored until more recent times, when an influx of paranormal investigations brought the building's history into the spotlight. One of the most well known stories surrounding 35 Stonegate involves the ghost of a soldier believed to be a former occupant of the building. The story goes that during the time of the English Civil War, the building was used as a tavern for soldiers returning from the battle. One soldier, badly injured and suffering from a grievous wound, is said to have died in one of the upper rooms after a long and painful struggle. Ever since, those who have entered the building claim to hear the heavy footsteps of a man walking across the upper floor, accompanied by the sounds of a faint groan or sigh. Some who have stayed in the upper rooms late at night have reported hearing the sound of rustling sheets, as if someone is moving about in the dark. A few visitors have even claimed to see a tall, shadowy figure standing at the foot of their bed, only to have it disappear when they turn on the lights. The soldier's ghost, according to some reports, is not malevolent. Instead, his presence seems to be a lingering imprint of his suffering in his final moments. Yet, despite his generally non threatening nature, the encounters have left those who experience them deeply unnerved. Another common ghostly encounter reported at 35 Stonegate is that of a woman seen near the staircase. Described as wearing a flowing gown of a bygone era, her appearance is often accompanied by an eerie coldness that sweeps through the building. She is believed to be the ghost of a lady who once lived in the house in the late 1700s. Local legend tells us she has been a widow who died under mysterious circumstances, though some believe she has been murdered by a jealous suitor. Visitors who have encountered her report an intense feeling of dread when passing by the staircase. Some describe seeing her standing at the top of the stairs, her face pale and expressionless, gazing down at those below. Others have felt a cold, unseen hand brush against their shoulders as they ascended the stairs, only to turn around and find the space entirely empty. In some cases, guests claim to have heard the rustling of a dress or the sound of light footsteps following them as they make their way up the stairs. In addition to the apparitions, 35 Stonegate is known for its poltergeist activity, mysterious and often violent occurrences that defy explanation. Staff members and visitors have reported objects being thrown across rooms, doors slamming shut without cause, and lights flickering on and off with no apparent source of disturbance. One particularly terrifying incident took place in the early 2000s when a local shopkeeper entered the building to find several heavy books thrown across the floor in an apparent act of aggression. The strange thing was, the books were not near any shelves and there were no windows open or drafts to account the movement. When the shopkeeper attempted to pick them up, they felt an overwhelming sense of being watched, and a strange buzzing sound filled the room. This unsettling phenomenon lasted for several minutes before abruptly stopping. Another frequent occurrence is the sound of doors creaking open and shut in the dead of night. People are walking past the building have often reported hearing what sounds like someone walking across the creaky floorboards inside, even when the house is completely empty. The basement of 35 Stonegate has long been the site of strange and unsettling occurrences. The low ceilings and damp atmosphere create an atmosphere of oppression, and those who venture down into the cellar often report a deep sense of foreboding. Shadows seem to flicker across the walls, and some have claimed to see dark figures standing at the far end of the room, only to find no one there when they approach. The cellar is thought to have once been used for storage, but local rumours suggest that it may have had a darker purpose. Some believe that, during times of plague, it was used to house the bodies of the dead before they were taken for burial. The energy from these traumatic events, it is speculated, may have caused a residual haunting that persists to this day. Those who have dared to explore the basement claim that the temperature suddenly drops when they enter, and some have felt an oppressive weight on their chest, as though the air itself is thick with the presence of something ancient and malevolent. 35 Stonegate is a haunting testament to the rich and sometimes tragic history of York. The city itself, steeped in centuries of conflict, war, and death, has produced many ghost stories. This building is no exception. The spirits that roam its rooms, whether it be the soldier, the spectral lady, or the restless poltergeist, serve as a reminder that York's past is never truly gone. For those who visit 35 Stonegate, it is not just a building to be admired for its age and architecture, it is a place where the supernatural intertwines with history, and where the boundaries between the living and the dead are often blurred. Whether you come seeking answers or simply to experience the eerie atmosphere for yourself, one thing is certain: the haunting tales of 35 Stonegate will stay with you long after you've left.